Hello there, colleague. How are you? Dr. Nefertiti Pointer here with the Devereaux Center for Resilient Children. You want to talk more about empathy? Of course you do. That's why you're here, right? Welcome back to our limited series conversation about the powerful word of empathy. So today I want to talk a little bit about the barriers to empathy. What gets in the way of being empathetic? And I want to actually frame the barriers very simply by reminding you that sometimes we have barriers to empathy and empathetic behavior because we forget our ABCs. We forget our ABCs. And so Janelle Massey helped me think about this a little bit more. And I know I'm not going to, I can't even, oh my gosh, you talk about wanting to learn a little bit more about empathy. If you can get your hands on the Miseducation of Empathy, it'll do you well. It'll do you well. So when I was reading it, I said to myself, okay, this is why sometimes we have barriers to empathy, because we forget our ABCs. And so Miss Massey in her work says that we forget to acknowledge humanity. We forget to acknowledge humanity. See, when you're going to be empathetic, people are not always the behavior may not be something you like. Even their thought process, you may say, oh, I can't believe she did that. I can't believe he did that. But we are human beings with the right to have our feelings and just be who we are. And if you're not able to really say that, then you might be forgetting to acknowledge that we're all just humans. If that's hard for you, then you may be forgetting the A in the ABCs, and that is to just acknowledge humanity. I didn't say agree. The A doesn't say agree with humanity. It says acknowledge humanity. So don't forget your ABCs, your A being acknowledging humanity. Your B is bypassing your feelings. And thank you, Miss Massey, for reminding us of this, that it's not about you, Nefertiti. Yes, it's about you trying your best to understand that person. But sometimes that feeling is not going to be one that you say, oh, in that situation, I would have felt the same way. Sometimes that might be the case, but sometimes not. And you give room for empathy when you just acknowledge that sometimes I'm going to have to bypass my own feelings so I can try my best to validate and be empathetic in this situation. And if I have not said it before, I want to say it again. It doesn't mean you agree. It doesn't mean you agree. But you are trying your best to bypass your feelings to be able to validate someone else's. All right? And then don't forget your C, connecting beliefs. Connecting beliefs. There is something so powerful that can happen with empathy if we just give space for it to happen. And the connecting beliefs are and can be amazing. Now, everything doesn't have to connect. Everything, it may not do like this. It may just do a little bit of like this. Because in Miss Massey's work, she talks about that gray area. You know, you got that gray area. And the gray area is where the messy work is. But that work is necessary if we're going to have a kind of home and work life and community and world where we all benefit. And so again, sometimes the barriers to empathy are because we forget our ABCs. Acknowledging humanity, bypassing your feelings when necessary to be able to validate theirs, and then connecting beliefs. The way Miss Massey says it is, there is safety in your thoughts. There is safety in your thoughts. And what can we do to start connecting beliefs? So again, the book is called The Miseducation of Empathy. It has helped me frame my conversation with you around this powerful concept of empathy. Let's keep learning together, all right? I'll see you in the next video. Again, Dr. Nefertiti Pointer with the Devereaux Center for Resilient Children. See you soon.